Hello, welcome back to the channel. This week we're at Fulham Palace Parkrun, which is in Bishop's Park. I'm in week 9 of 12 of preparing for the Boston UK Marathon. Last week had a bit of a blow up at the Cambridge half, so I thought I would come out here and try to get a good 5K effort in, see what I could put down. So some of the pros of this course, it's a 3-lap course around Bishop's Park. It's extremely flat. It's about half tarmac and half hard dirt, and it's also very protected from the wind. So those are all really good positives that'll help you put down a good time. Whoa! And here comes the green man through. Well, I assume if you are tearing by me that fast, you must be on your way to a 17 minutes and I'll never see you again. So anyway, some of the cons, there are 24 90-degree turns. Rain can really flood the course, and the second and third laps can get really crowded. So as I'm waiting for my numbers here to pop up, since it is my local, a hi from Jordan. Hi, Jordan. And now we finally have our numbers, and we can see that we are off here at about 3:48 pace. I think I'm going to be trying to put down something a little bit under 20. My PR on the course is 19:53, I think, from about a month ago. But overall, really want to see what I can do if I can break that time just slightly. This course is kind of in the middle of the pack in terms of how fast courses are for parkrun. The Power of 10, I believe, has it ranked 361st out of 835 park runs. There's a lot of things that factor into this. I went through some of them with the pros and cons, but as we can see, here's one of the first ones as we make this first left-hand turn. There's going to be a right turn counter going down at the bottom as we make our way through all 24 of these turns. So looking at the course profile, this is a pace profile actually, and you can see this is kind of what it looks like. There's so many of these 90-degree turns that you end up slowing down a lot. That's compared to something like Bishop's Park, where you can see there's actually only 2 right-hand turns in that course profile. So making our way, this is some of the hard dirt I was talking about. It's a pretty good surface for good speed on a nice dry day, not nearly as good as tarmac, but as you can imagine, if this gets any rain on it, it starts becoming a little bit more mushy. And then if any large puddles start to form, it becomes a big issue because no one really wants to run through the puddles. So as we make these turns, it's always good to try to push forward a little bit. At this point in the in parkrun, not a race, parkrun, I am still trying to push forward, but keeping in mind that the people around me are all kind of going my pace. So I'm hoping not too many people are going to pass me at this point. I think I've gone out somewhat conservatively. On this course, I'm trying to drop something like 355s for the first few Ks, and then see where I can net out. So this part of the course is always interesting. 90-degree turn, 90-degree turn, 90-degree turn, 90-degree turn. So that you will always see on your pace profile when you do a Fulham Palace Parkrun. So making our way up here. But as I get past again, a quick glance down to the watch, make sure, okay, I am in the 350s. Watch is jumping around a little bit up to the 4s. The course does normally come out maybe 5.05 K, so you might want to bank about 10 seconds there. But overall, definitely don't want to go out too hard just when some people start running by, so don't get too carried away in that first lap. As we get through the first K, did that in 3:56, which if you work in miles is about 6:20, and I'm just starting to be able to see the green man has come back into my view. But jumping ahead to 1.35K, I'm closing in on the green man, and as I make my way forward, I can see he seems to be slowing down a little bit compared to everyone else around us. But looking at my heart rate, I can tell that something has gone a little bit wrong here. My heart rate max is about 195, so this says I'm at 170. It's just not tracking properly. At 170, I'm quite comfortable, and I can tell you even at 1.5K, I'm already not, I'm not feeling 100%, as you might be able to tell from my breathing. But as I make my way forward here, this is the final portion of the first lap of 3 laps. And as we make our way up here, you really need to make up some time here. So I can see my pace, 3:53. That's pretty good for this portion of the race. This is kind of the only tarmacked straight portion of it all. So you better take advantage when you're on this part and make up some of that time. And as I'm passing Greenman, I must be getting very excited, or my heart rate is starting to work. I can see I've climbed all the way up to the upper 180s. Jumping way ahead to about 2.4K. I came through that second K at 3:54, which is about 6:17 pace if you work in miles. And I've just been staying behind this guy the whole time. No one is passing me. No one has come around. But he seemed very kind of in control and easy. So I was just telling myself, this guy seems comfortable. So why don't we hang out here and see if we can get this middle part of the run done without burning too many matches. But when you're at 2.55K and you're already at almost 190 beats and your max is 195, you certainly are getting close to some of those matches. So we can see here my pace is in the 4s, which is not great. I need to get that down further. I mean, 4:10, 4:12, that's not doable. And we can also see we're starting to come across some of these tail walkers. So the tail walkers, it starts off with just a slow trickle of people you start to catch here. But you will see as you make your way forward, it starts to become larger and larger crowds. In total, Fulham Palace gets somewhere between 600 and 800 runners each week. So it can get pretty crowded and pretty full, especially kind of in those middle sections. So as you make your way up here, it's a surprisingly long portion of the run. You always kind of remember it as, once you come around the 4 turns, I just have to go up a little bit and make my turn. But you seem to notice it as you're making your way up. You never seem to come to the end of this, and you just continue going. But at least at this point, you still have a nice view of the Thames. You're looking out there, and you're enjoying it without overwhelming crowds yet. But you do have that thought in the back of your mind: oh no, I've got an entire another lap of this course. So as we make our way through these 2 turns, I realize this turn not quite 90 degrees, but I figured this one makes up for it being over 90 degrees. And we make our way forward. We come through that 3rd K in 3:59 or 6:25 pace. So not great, but not too bad. Did not lose much time. Overall 3:59 when 3:55 is kind of the goal. Lost a few seconds, but not overwhelming given that most of it was kind of covered. And as I jump up to 3.4K here, I watch this guy bounce by me and seems like he's having a good day, and I have some crazy deja vu to last week in the Cambridge half where I was maybe 6.5 miles in, starting to not feel all that great, and I could have sworn the exact same guy came running by and actually asked me about Fulham, since I was in my vest, asked me about the club runs, when they happen, which ones were the best to show up for, and I'm trying to get out answers for him as I'm pretty much dying inside. So I was both getting deja vu based on how he looked, as well as the general vibe as he ran by this time. So I will have to see afterwards if that is the guy I met at Cambridge. But as we continue here, we can see we're really starting to hit a much more significant amount of people on this last lap. And you have some big decisions to make here as you're hitting 99% of your max heart rate. Am I going to go to the inside or outside? I'm going to the inside here. Or outside, depending on how you take it. But this is a risky bet. Normally, I would go the opposite way. Am I going to get... I think I nicked her. I would normally go to the other side. It's much harder because it's uneven and dirt. but it's a little safer for not getting hemmed in. Can I? Oh, left, right, left. Okay, and onto this final turn. So now I just need to do this long dirt portion and I'll be good. I've got this guy ahead of me. I can't quite tell if he's on my lap or the lap before, but he's letting me by. And as I make my way up, I now am going to have to keep an eye forward. Am I going to want to go left? Am I going to want to go right? And with my heart rate at 192, I'm noticing my pace is really dropping off. So definitely one of the risks when you run this course is letting yourself drop off on this portion with all these people around. And as we can see, that last K, not great. 4 flat or 6:26 pace. So normally parkrun, very polite area where everyone's trying to make sure everyone's doing well. And you would typically say, excuse me, I'm on your right. I've decided to go with this noise. Yeah. So that became my go-to noise in order to let people know I was behind them. I really don't stand by it, but at the time, excuse me, I'm on your right, just wasn't coming out of my body. So as I make my way onto this last portion and through the last 4 turns, I'm excited to know I'm getting near the end. So flash forwarding up to 4.6K, I get to make my final turn. And once you make your final turn, you have about 395 meters left. So at this point, you have a lot of choices between which direction you want to go. It's going to be super crowded. And you also have to decide, when do I want to turn this up? 400 meters sounds like a good time to start turning it up. And maybe it is for like 1%. But in terms of turning it significantly up, it is far too early for me, especially with all these people ahead. So unfortunately, I'm losing ground to a couple people here and just had someone pass me on the final straight, which is not ideal. Always amazed by the people that decide that they find themselves running into parkrun and then they run the opposite direction of everyone else and just continue with their run. But now I'm getting overtaken by 1 or 2 more people. I'm not happy about this, but with my heart rate at 193, I don't feel like I have a ton of choice. I am bringing it down. I've got it down to 354, 353. And I think at this point I'm like, okay, now it's time to kick. You have to kick. You only have like 50 meters left. Really should have started it a little bit earlier. But start the kick, seeing if I can make my way through here. And this, don't knock over the kid, get around this guy. Okay, can I catch down in the 340s, down in the 330s, and across. And wow, that was, I'm sorry to all volunteers, both at this parkrun and other parkruns, that was the state I was in at that point, that I thought that was an allowed noise to make. But as I made my way through, I could see P16 as well as 1949, which is actually a 4-second PR on this course. So excited about that. So my training continues. I've got 3.5 more weeks of training at this point in order to get ready for the Boston, UK Marathon, where I'm going to be attempting to qualify for the Boston, US Marathon. Subscribe to see how that ends up going.